What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raf Esparza, coming to you with another special edition of the Grappling Hour. Today, we are presenting a preview for the upcoming sixth season of the PGF, and I know many people are excited about this. I know you should be. You can't win 100K, but your friends might be able to, or people that you like to watch do the Jiu Jitsu. We have two excellent guests. We'll get to him in just a second, but first, attention back on me. While I've got you guys here, let's sell some products. Look at this. This is a Grappling Hour t-shirt. You guys can get one of these by going over to rafesparza.com/merch or grapplinghour.com. If you guys go there, go ahead, support the team, support the crew. You can also go on over to patreon.com/grappling hour. You can see our interviews that we do on the show 30 days before anybody else. In fact, one went up for free today, and that is our recent interview with one Gary Tonin, our longtime nemesis, after his, I wouldn't say surprising win, but thank God he won. Yeah, let's put it that way. Glad to see him back in the W column. So that one just went up free and available to everybody. And yes, very, very excited. So go there. You can also see tape studies, extra stuff. If you become one of our premium members, extra episodes not available anywhere else. Patreon.com/grappling hour. You can also join the Grappling Hour on any of the social medias, but we'd love it if you go to YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. And for you folks who are in the comment section, if you guys want to go ahead and add in comments, like our good friend Jiu Jitsu Memes, I can input them into the show. Now, granted, some of you are watching on Instagram, and it's it's going to cut off a little bit. If you go to, say, YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or Facebook, it'll give you the full screen version of it, and you can see this beautiful board that I'm about to get to. But speaking of beautiful things, why don't we go see the beautiful face of longtime friend of the show, one Matt Skaff. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing good. It is nice to be back with you, Raf. I love the show, man. I love the things that you do for the community, and I'm looking forward to having a show with me, you, and Tim. I think we're gonna, we'll have some fun, little shenanigans, but at the same time, I think we're gonna provide some really interesting discourse on the upcoming season of the PGF.
Well, you should know this. The first comment you have gotten, sir, this guy has great hair. So I wasn't expecting that to be our first comment for you, but it seems like the public, they love the Matt Skaff hair. So, you know what I mean? You can be our Kenny Florian, sir.
It's funny. I always get Dominic Cruz. I went to some MMA fights this past weekend, and I always get you look like Dominic Cruz, and it always makes me question the average MMA fans' IQ or just their ability to facial recognition, because I feel like I look nothing like him, but I do get a lot of Dominic Cruz rather than Kenny Florian.
I could see that. I wanted to give you Kenny Florian for the hair specifically. For Dominic Cruz, it might make it seem like you hate us, so I don't want to go down that route. Dominic Cruz is not afraid to sell out people on the commentary. And also, speaking of not afraid to sell out people, please welcome back to the show, current, I don't know where we stand, Tim Freeman, current former nemesis, longtime, acquaintance of the show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to say, yes, rumors have been out there for a long time that we were not friends or that we were enemies, but, people don't understand the business, the way it works. They don't understand kayfabe, how we work things in and we work things out. Of course, I'm not going to miss this, man. It's great to be here. I would say while we're doing the PGF, I'm calling a truce. We'll be friends. It's like when the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan came together. That's what we're going to have to do.
So hold on. I'm going to let me see if I can do this handshake to the other side like this. Just coming over to this. Oh, shit. I got to go the other way. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Truce. Look at that. The power of jiu-jitsu, baby. It's brought everybody together. Bringing women and children, families, your mom who hates that one neighbor. It's all of us back together. That's how much people love the PGF, and the people are loving it. PGF World has emojis. Brandon just says, I liked it better when there was hate. Well, you booked this, sir, so I don't know what to do here. This is mostly your doing. I feel like that Brandon's like, now that I think about it, I actually realized this is a bad idea. And I realized, for years I've been doing a Brandon Mccaghren impression, and technically he is the boss man here, but I realized the secret to doing a Brandon Mccaghren impression. I was always doing it up high, like up here, because sometimes when it gets real, like up here, it gets real high. But then I realized I was like, there's a sweetness to his voice, like a old school Bill Clinton. Like when he really gets down on something, he gets down on that like very, very appropriate. Oh, I don't know about that, y'all. I mean, I'm gonna get real deep and then real low, and then I'm gonna bring it up real high. And I go, oh, I've figured it out. It only took me 10 plus years of having him on the show.
Yeah, I call that him doing his adorable sea lion impersonation.
Well, truces are all out there. We have some friends in the comment section. What's up, Keelan? I see you, brother. I see a lot of good stuff happening. We should just tell you guys, you have alluded to it, but I wanted to make the full announcement here. Right now, folks, you are looking at your opening preview team. So we will be with you for the PGF Season 6. We're very, very happy to be part of this team. And I have to say, the three of us bring a wealth of experience of jiu-jitsu, broadcasting, and yes, many, many years of talking to your ears and your faces virtually. So we're very excited to bring those powers together like Captain Planet and bring you a preview show. Matt, can you give them a preview of what it is they can expect to see? Like what are you bringing to the table, sir?
Oh, man. So at the beginning, I'm kind of like the chameleon of the PGF. I started off as the commentary, the main voice of the PGF, and I did that for the first few seasons. Now, this last season, I jumped into a coaching role, a manager role. Obviously, this season, we've seen a big upgrade. While I am a black belt, my black belt might pale in comparison, some of you may say, to the likes of Roger Gracie, Eddie Bravo, Keegan Machado. I mean, just those names, and Andre Galvao. So I didn't necessarily belong there. But because of my ability to play many different roles, I am now joining the pre-show. And the pre-show, I'm super excited for that. I've always been a big fan of sports in general. And one of my favorite shows is the TNT show with Shaq, Charles, EJ. I mean, those guys, Kenny, have been big inspirations for me as I've tried to get into commentary. And I just love the atmosphere of their show. I like how they speak their mind and they're not afraid to say it how they think it is. But at the same time, they're very lighthearted. And I think we'll have a very similar dynamic. And so I have a big memory up here. I got a big brain up here. And I remember many things that have happened in grappling history. And so I feel like, I don't want to say that I'm like an expert, but especially when it comes to the PGF, I think I'm the closest thing to a PGF expert as there is.
Tim, I'm not sure if you picked up on half of that, but I think great answer, by the way. But I do believe that part of that answer was I pinball fell my way to working with Tim and Raf. I'm not quite sure if that's what you guys picked up, but I definitely heard like, well, I did Starting Glory, and somehow they kicked me to the pre-show. Womp womp.
Yeah, I wasn't going to call that out. I did detect it a little bit. And there was also an air of, and I know a lot about jiu-jitsu, and you guys are pretty lucky that you have me. And I would got to say, you know what, though? In all honesty, Skaff, I think we are lucky that we have you because you have done a bunch of things for the PGF, man. You've bounced all over the place, and I'm going to pull from you. That's 100%. I'm going to rely on you as much as I can. And then when you're not looking, I'm going to take a shot at you to make people laugh. So that's, that's good.
I want to point this out. You are way, way more in tune with how people perceive you. Because if I was you, I would have been like, yeah, I'm coaching with Andre Galvao and Hodger. I see nothing wrong with that. Fake it until you make it, people. And then I would just use that branding. I'm like, as seen, sitting right next to Hodger and Andre Galvao. But so we did get a comment here, though. And this comment says that Skaff is the mascot. So it's followed by this, which is, can we work a mascot costume into the budget? And I feel like the answer is yes, because the previous question before that, or the note, was from Brandon McNidja himself, boss man, commissioner, who said, I'm in a PGF budget meeting, so I got the volume down, but I can feel Raf talking trash. I think that's the unfortunate part of this is you gave me the microphone, so this is just kind of what I'm going to be doing. Tim, what can people expect from you as one of the leading correspondents on this show, sir?
Well, I've had the pleasure of talking to a lot of people in jiu-jitsu, a lot of them. And what I figured out is most of them are kind of full of it, and I'm full of it. So I have a lot of experience just talking smack for hours on end. And that's the voice that you're going to need when things get a little too serious. I'm going to be able to pop right in and go like, "Hey, but what about this?" No, I've been a friend of Brandon's for a long time. I met Brandon on the internet, on the grappling forums. Ended up talking to him on the podcast that I do back in the day, a long, long time ago. He called in and played "I Dominated Eddie." I don't know if you guys remember that song, and just watched him over time. Really do some cool stuff. And I eventually moved back this way, an hour and a half from him, and I've been able to come down and see him and train down there and kind of tighten up that relationship in a more meaningful way. And so when the opportunity came up to do it, I told him, "Yeah, I want to help you any way you can, even if that means you need me to clean a toilet, you need me to sit on a sit on a panel with Skaff. Same thing, I'll do it. I don't mind. I could jump in and get in there and do it." So yeah, I'm stoked to be here, man.
I just want to point this out. Records do show that the first show that Brandon Mccaghren was famously on was Verbal Tap. So our research department sent that to me. I was not responsible for that, but that is something that I think needed to be put down for the record.
That's entirely possible. It is entirely possible that happened.
It is entirely possible.
I'm still claiming that I met him first on SureDog. So that's.
I mean, listen, dude, SureDog back in the day might as well have been a dating app as well. So yeah, sure, it's very possible you might have met him there as well. So just so people know, we have a beautiful board that we're going to transition to. And I'm telling you guys, if you're watching on Instagram, you might want the full spectrum. So you might want to go to our YouTube, our Twitch, our Twitter, our Facebook, at the Grappling Hour, any one of those places. You'll see this board in its beautiful, beautiful, full scaft, if you would. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the board. But before we get started on this, I want to say this very quickly. You may notice there are a few little factors here. The first is that the board has 8 topics. So each of these topics we will be spending about 3 minutes on. That's going to give each of us approximately 1 minute. The rules are as follows. If either of these gentlemen have a hot take, they are welcome to take a minute of the other panelists. They'll say, "Hey, I want to go ahead and take Raf's minute." And I have to give them that once. Each person gets that once. Conversely, if they want to give their minute and gift it to somebody else, they are allowed to do that as well. The topics were presented by all 3 of us, so they kind of run the gamut on a little bit of what we know currently about the PGF, which is just a little bit a month away from here. So, gentlemen, do you guys have any questions? Have I explained this well? Do you kind of understand the concept? Skaff, do you understand what's going on here?
Yep, I am good to go.
Tim, are you ready to take on this board?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to start right now. The very first topic, in case you guys cannot see it, I will still read it out loud, but it goes as follows with 3 minutes on the clock. It starts with this question, which is, who is your number 1 current pick? And I'm going to go ahead and give you Tim Freeman, that question first.
Well, I got to go with Elijah Carlton. I think he's going to sub the scrubs. He's going to stall out with the dudes that are big names, and he's going to end up on top one more time. I think he's going to be the breakout star. I think he is a star. I just don't think he's been on a big enough stage yet. So 100%, I'm going with Elijah Carlton.
I'm going to go over back this way. Let's bring this back on over to Skaff. Skaff, who do you have as your current number 1 pick?
To me, this is a difficult. I have a 1A, 1B. My 1A, and if I had to pick one guy, it would be PJ Barch. I just love PJ's resume. You look at what he did at this last ADCC, beating JT Torres, making it to the semifinals, but it's how he does it. He's got wins over a lot of these guys in the PGF by submission, and because the PGF rewards submissions, 6 points for a kill, for a choke, which PJ has in his arsenal, but also in some of those tougher matchups, PJ's a really good leg locker. And I like PJ's ability to find wins in really, really tough matchups. I think he's gonna be the clear number one, with Andy Varela probably being the one B for me. He'll probably be the second for me.
So let me get this straight. You're giving us two answers.
Now I'm giving you PJ Barch if I have to, because of the resume, because of, I think, his ability to find submissions in really tough matches. But I'm just throwing Andy. I'm a huge Andy fan, and he's close. I think those two are the clear top two guys, is what I'm saying.
I appreciate the fact that you caveat it with "if I have to," like gun to head. Like anytime somebody brings up that scenario, it's like, you better tell me who the fuck you're picking as number one pick for PGF season 6 with $100K on the line and an additional 24 individuals. Who do you got, guy? And it's gonna be like, bro, you are a very specific thief. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Gun to head. It's gonna be PJ Barch, but also considering Andy Varela. So let me just say this. My response is as follows.
Gun to head.
I'm going to put this out there. I've got 35 seconds. I can do it in that much time. Andy Varela is my number one pick. Here's why. That dude is putting up status updates on the daily, letting you know he's ready to do some random shit. And not just random shit, but like exciting shit. And I think that's a very important key factor. For this, it's not just who's got good jiu-jitsu. A lot of these guys have good jiu-jitsu. It's the X factor of who's willing to go the extra mile and be that insane. I think Andy Varela is that person. So I'm going to yoink your B, your outline 1A, 1B, yoink, that comes over to Raf column, because that is not a way a draft works. So I'm going to go ahead and steal it. And that is going to go ahead and conclude our first topic. Do you have any last things to say on that based off of what we've gone through?
Look, I appreciate, Raf, you coming and, taking Andy Varela, number one, right? And I could see a world where he is. He's got great chokes, great submissions. But I'm telling you, PJ Barch, he's gonna win. He's gonna win.
So you're putting it out right now that you're saying PJ Barch is your seeded, hey, I think he's gonna take the whole dance.
Yep.
Okay. Tim, do you think it's too early to be making that kind of proclamation?
I mean, I'm picking Elijah Carlton with the same amount of conviction that Skaff's picking PJ Barch, so I'm coming out strong. I think that's fine. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a bigger surprise than what people think.
Let me put this out here. Speaking of what people think, Conscious Keelan says, "Oh man, what have we done?" I think you knew well in advance what you had done when you put this panel together. And more importantly, yes, someone else is saying Andy has a win over PJ in the trials, right? Listen, I will be forthcoming on this, which is almost everybody who is on season 6 has been a guest of any kind of incarnation of the shows that I've hosted. So I can only say so much shit about these guys. But I will tell you this. In terms of that, yes. But I think what's going to happen is you have to also factor in a whole week. So I do like both of your picks. I like the fact that Elijah has the experience factor of being there before. And PJ Barch has been in every major competition and has never sweated at all from what I have seen. The reason I'm saying Andy Varela as well is because I feel like he's one of those people who, when reality shows, when people say, I'm not here to make friends, like he's 100% the person who walks in and says that. And I think conversely, I think that you get Mike John, he'll be the person that says, I'm actually here to make friends, you guys. So that's the difference between what I see on A and B. Let's go to our next topic. We're going to go ahead and play this through. I'm glad we were able to get those comments in. You guys can continue to put those in as we go. We're going to now transition into our second topic. Our second topic is a nice look at trying to figure out how people in the past can exist in the future by asking, how would the returning vets do? So there are some individuals here. You may recognize a couple of the names who have been in this before. And I'm going to go ahead and start on over with Skaff, because it does seem like Tim has already picked one person from the past. Skaff, what are your thoughts?
Man, I love a couple of the guys returning from past seasons, particularly Elijah Carlton. Elijah has been the face of the PGF for years now, and his record in the PGF is insane. And While Elijah, I think isn't going to be like a top 3 guy this year, I think Elijah's going to make a lot of noise. I think he's going to provide some of the best moments this upcoming season. And I think he's going to make the playoffs, and he's going to do it in style.
I dig it. I dig it. Great job. Just for those keeping score, Elijah, he thinks very well of you, but not well enough to pick you. Tim, I'm going to continue on this trajectory with you. For you, what do you see as someone who is going to stand out, or what do you think the value is in having done this before?
The value in having done this before is tremendous, because this is not a 1-day tournament. This isn't a 2-day tournament. This is an entire week of grappling. And having that experience multiple times coming in and doing it. And if you go back and you watch previous seasons, Elijah Carlton's not playing around. He's calling dudes out for taking a day off because they got hurt. Like, he's getting after it every single day. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage to him coming into it as a veteran. It's one of the reasons why I'm picking him. So, yeah, I think that Elijah's got a very, very good opportunity. I think once this cat's out of the bag, it might be harder to win, like, say, season 7. But season 6 is going to be the time to strike, because he's one of the premier guys that has the experience. Everybody else is kind of coming into it new. He also knows that, the kills get more points than the arm bars. He understands that winning by points doesn't mean anything. It's a different beast. It's just not 2 guys grappling. It's a sport. It's a way to win it.
Point this out, from my perspective, it's also a huge upside for somebody like Kevin Buehring, who had experience at the last PGF season finale where he took out an entire team. Now, granted, maybe that's not somebody of a Canuto sort of level, but at the same point, it does get you ready for the kind of regimen that you're going to have, the pace you need to keep. And that dude wanted to go and clear out another team. So if he has the right day, that could look very, very well for him. I think it's a great opportunity, and one that, especially when you're on the come up, you want to continue to build on that side. All right. I think that's a pretty well-adjusted version of all of this. We're going to go and continue on. We're going to press on to our next topic. So there's a few interesting things that happen here. In the time that I made this board to the time we have now, we have seen actually another addition. Early today, it was announced that Ben Eddy will be joining it. But the question is, there are some remaining spots. Gentlemen, without saying what you may know, I guess what I should ask is this. Who do you think is deserving, who is not currently on the board, who should be involved in this year's PGF? I'm going to go back on over to you, Tim Freeman.
Well, 2 names, and they're brothers, and I take them both or take either of them, and that is Cade and Ty Ruotolo. I think those guys would absolutely destroy a tournament formatted like the PGF. So, that would be amazing if those guys are, yet to be announced. If they're not, it'd certainly be awesome to see those guys in the future. Outside of that, I would like to see guys that go for the kill. I think guys with a unique style, guys like Nate Orchard, guys that are not doing traditional style, algorithmic jiu-jitsu. You need to be creative in the PGF. You don't have much time. There's particular ways you're trying to win. So you really have to be used to kind of going for things on the fly. I'd like to see a guy like Keith Krikorian in. I think that would be an awesome addition to it. So, guys that are dynamic, guys that you've seen win multiple different ways. They don't have one particular style. Those are the guys that are going to do the best in PGF.
Very much agree with that. Same question on over to you, Skaff.
For me, I have no clue who the remaining 5 are. But what I want to see is just random dudes, right? I think we've got a bunch of big name guys. We've got some PGF veterans coming back that have made a name for themselves in previous seasons. But to me, what's always made the PGF special is the collection of guys that nobody knows about. The random dude driving from Virginia or North Carolina to make it to a show in Decatur, Alabama. And to me, that's what makes it special, just giving these guys an opportunity. Just give a couple of dudes, like a random dude from the middle of Iowa who's a purple or brown belt that's been killing it locally, and just give him a shot. He's either going to provide lots of highlights for the top guys, or he's going to have some big upsets and people are going to learn his name.
So I think one of the trickiest things about this particular aspect is they are going at the 175 category, if I'm not incorrect here.
Yeah.
So that's tricky to me because when you have that weight category, you know, you could put a wish list of people. You could say somebody like a Big Dan and be like, man, I wish so. That would be great. And then even on the other sides, you got to wonder maybe like a Cody Steele, maybe like a Damian, but then you figure what are their kind of ties to doing MMA. I just feel like at this point, we now want to give those select spots to those individuals that we feel can put on a show. And there's a part of me that wonders if somebody like even a Paulardia is somebody that would be of interest of that. You put those high ADCC competitors in that realm. If he can make that 175, which, listen, dude, I think he can. I just know when you get these things together and you start looking at a who's who list, I think you want to take those top names from your ADCC brackets and say, I don't know, let's throw them in here too. Having said that, now that you had a second more to think about it, Tim, did you forget anybody else or anybody else that you would have given some shine to?
No, I mean, I do see your point. I think it does make sense to include some of those guys at that high level. And you know, I kind of like the idea of having a complete nobody just jump in and get a shot at it. You know, maybe what Brandon can do in the future is they could have a Willy Wonka style kind of game where anybody can win and get a shot at the PGF.
I think you're talking about that idea that somebody put for the Olympics where they said they should just have somebody who's an average Joe just to give you a kind of perspective as to how it goes. So it's literally first day trial waiver dude that you're like, hey man, what are you doing right now? Do you got a couple days? You're in Vegas. You don't got shit to do. Come on, man. Come to this little secret John Wick layer that we got here. It's going to be cool. We did get a note here from Conscious Keelan Vlogs, which, by the way, I didn't know that was an actual thing. And it says, I am loving this show setup, killing it, Raf. Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. We wanted to do something appropriate for the new season of the PGF. Gentlemen, I think we're going to keep going, keep this party and this train going. And I have to say, nobody has stolen anybody's time yet. So everybody here still has the ability to do it once or give it to somebody else. Keep that in mind. We are now going to make our way to a very important question, which I think you guys may be a little more blocked on, which is, will Eddie only pick 10th Planet people? I'm going to start with you, Matt Skaff.
Oh, man. Eddie Bravo is a complete enigma in a lot of areas, right? Like, you just never know. When Eddie jumps on the Joe Rogan podcast and he's doing the fight companion, you have no idea what in the hell is going to come out of his mouth sometimes, right? But in this instance, I think Eddie is one of the most predictable coaches that we could get. He is only going to pick 10th Planet soldiers. Eddie is 10th Planet for life. He is the creator. He is the head man. It's his baby. It is one of the few things in life that he is super, super passionate about that is up there with the conspiracy theories. And I cannot imagine a world where Eddie Bravo chooses Hanato Canuto first. He's picking PJ Barch. He's going then next to Andy Varela. Then he's going to try and get Ben Eddie. And he's going to work his way down until there's no 10th Planet guys left. And then from there, who knows? But if you're a 10th Planet guy, Kevin Buring, Elijah Carlton, he is going to be bidding and spending all of his money trying to get those guys on his squad.
Tim, I'm going to go back over to you. Your question now, sir.
Okay, he could do that. Skaff, you're right. He could pick 5 10th Planet guys, and he'd still have some extra that ended up on other teams. But my question is, does he take the opportunity to draft a Gracie, pull him onto his team, turn him to the dark side, change his name to Anakin, go out on top? Yes, he could draft a full team of 10P guys, but what an opportunity. What an opportunity. I think he pulls a Gracie in. He either does it to turn him or he does it as respect. He pulls him in. Goes, I got this. I got this.
Oh, see, you guys, this is how I can tell you don't work in TV. I'm all about this, but I play it up even more. If I'm Eddie, I turn this into a version of The Bachelor. And instead of maybe a rose, it's a bong, and he gives it out to the guys. And what he does is he comes like close to one of the 10P guys, and he's like, oh, you thought I was going to give this to you. Oh, no, see. And then you play it up, you cut to commercial, you come back, you keep the audiences drawn in. I feel like that's what you need to do to make this season sexy. I think you are right in this respect, which is Eddie could make a good team out of anybody, but there is a lot at stake here. If he goes the route, I think some people would want him to pick other people who are not 10P. I say stake your ground, do it. Because what better way to show people the showcase for a sub-only tournament that y'all are the premier group. So it's my hope that you guys would make that happen, and we'll see. But I will say this, though. Skaff, if he does end up staying true to that, I feel like you are going to be biased as a commentator, so I have to watch you very closely when we're doing these things live.
I feel like Eddie has a better chance of endorsing NASA, coming out and endorsing NASA as his newest sponsor, than choosing anybody other than a 10th Planet guy first. And to me, the question is which 10th Planet guy? And will that cause some controversy? Because, again, there's a lot of high-level dudes. And we're talking about the father, Eddie Bravo, trying to pick between his children. Like, is he going to choose a favorite? And is it Ben Eddie? Because Ben Eddie was announced today, and we all know that Eddie loves Ben Eddie. He loves the style. He plays rubber guard. He's a rubber guard master. Is that his first go-to guy, or does he go with the highest level competitors in PJ and Andy? And does he choose between PJ and Andy? But I can't imagine a world where Eddie chooses a Gracie first.
But can I say this, though? Are they going to be left on the board that long? Because you get one spot, it goes around, depending on how that... Is it a snake draft that we do for this?
No, so it's actually, this is the fun part.
Oh, the
because
draft.
it's an auction draft. So it's not necessarily picks. You obviously, like, your first pick is the guy you spend the most money on. So Eddie's going to be saving his acorns. He's going to have a nice stash that he's saving for certain 10th Planet guys. And I'm interested to see, like, does he hurt a 10th Planet's guy's feeling if he, like, doesn't bid on him? You know, like, and or the other coach is going to make him overbid for a PJ or a Ben Eddie or a guy that he, like, really, really wants. So that, to me, is the most interesting aspect, one of coming up for this draft.
I want to say there's kind of an added benefit of, and I've said this on the show a couple times, I do believe that Andy Varela has the most off camera, whenever we're doing interviews, Prince-like voice. Like, the amount of bass in his voice is too high. So whenever I'm talking to him, I'm like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, oh, nothing. I'm just, I'm living life. I'm doing what I need to do. And I go, oh my God, this dude sounds like Prince. Like, it sounds like, I don't know. What do you think I should be doing, Raf Esparza? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, okay. So I like the idea of cutting to him as a talking head and being like, that day, Eddie really hurt my feelings when he did not pick me as the number one pick. And, I was in my feels about it. And that's why I had to go cartwheel on a dude and put him into a coma.
He goes into a song. 1, 2, 3.
And by the way, if you guys have never seen this, when Prince headlined the Super Bowl, they usually have like a press conference leading into it. And they basically, at a press conference, Prince walks out and he's about to take a question, has the microphone. He goes, anybody have any questions? And somebody like goes, hey Prince, can I ask 1, 2, 3, 4? And then goes straight into a song. Like, it's the most amazing way to do a press conference I have ever seen. So, all right, good. I see Egghead Warrior is joining us. Always glad to have friends and family showing up. Good to see you, brother. We're now going to make our way to our next topic, which is, and this is something I'm going to need you to kind of set up here, Skaff, because the next one is going into the idea of killing it. And the question is, how many kills will there be? So in case people are not aware of what that means, I'd like for you to kind of identify what a kill means in this particular rule set, sir. So I'm starting off with Skaff.
So what really has separated the PGF is the rules. And the biggest being, especially when the PGF was started, a lot of the sub-only shows, two dudes were sitting to their butt and they were playing leg spaghetti. And while we all love leg locks, there was a time where a lot of shows just turned into who can out pummel the other guy and who's not willing to tap the leg locks. And we didn't want to see that for the PGF. And so Brandon created a unique way to reward people for going for submissions that actually kill and submissions that actually truly end not only the fight, but can end someone's life. And that is the chokes. And so how many chokes are there going to be? The biggest thing competitors have to do if you want to win the PGF is during that week, you have to identify matches that you feel like are dunkables, right? Where you're going to be able to dictate where the match takes place and where you can get and find spots to get kills. And so
I do believe you have run out of time, though, so I need a quick answer for you. How many kills will there be, sir?
I'm going to say 15.
15. Okay, that's a good start. Now, granted, I know I set you up for failure there because I did ask you to explain the concept, but the rules are what they are. I have to now go on over to Tim, contractually speaking. Tim, if you would.
Well, listen, it's about subbing the scrubs, dunking the skunks. That's how you win PGF. And those are the guys that pull that off. They're going to be the ones that go home with the big point totals. You're going to drop into that tournament. You're going to go home with all the money. So having said that, 15 is probably a reasonable answer for, if we're talking maybe, listen, there's 20 athletes here. There's going to be more than 15 kills. There's going to be way more than 15 kills. I'm going to say 30 kills.
It was 30 kills. So wait, hold on. By Price is Right rules here, if I just go 16, I'm sitting pretty good. And I think that's where I'm going to go. So, okay, good to know here. Gentlemen, I want to point this out, which is this. I think that is what makes it unique. It is kind of the equalizer, if you would. But those kills become important with the points to make it to the individual tournament. Am I correct on that, Skaff? Like,
Correct.
if you acclimate a certain amount of points, you then advance to being able to win that 8-man tournament for an additional 20K. Is that correct?
The top 8 go to the tournament. Anybody outside, your week is over.
Well, that was incredibly blunt. I wasn't sure about how that was going to come off, but man, Skaff already not afraid to lay down the law here. And Egghead Warrior coming in with the stats that we need here, folks. He says PGF Season 5, 40 kills, 54 breaks, 1 DQ. So if that holds true, Tim is looking very pretty right now. I do want to...
There's going to be a bunch of matches. Just 12 guys, 20 dudes fight 12 times. That's a lot. That's like 240 matches.
So I like that idea, but the big question I have here in response to that is the talent pool did jump up. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but sometimes when black belts face black belts, that submission rate can go down, especially if you've been to an IBJJF. And it's mostly because you're putting two people of equal skill in a way that isn't as adjunct. It isn't as crazy differentium between the two.
This is where I'm going to disagree, and I'm not going to name names, but PGF has a history of having some guys that are dunkable. That's the whole point. PGF 6 isn't any different. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Skaff, you were the one that was introducing this. Do you have a response to any of that? Have you rethought your answer? Were you mad that I said 16 over 15?
Well, I kind of set myself up when we were talking about the missing. That's why I don't know who the remaining 5 guys are. But when I look at this list, I'm like, hey, who can get a kill on Hanato Canuto in 6 minutes? Who can get a kill on Ben Eddy in 6 minutes? Like, that is not a lot of time to choke some of the best guys in the world. And I think we'll see a lot of breaks. I think we'll see more leg locks this season, guys being opportunistic. Because in the past, like last season, no offense to some of the dudes, but they were like family guys. Some of these guys were only training like 2-3 times a week. They had they weren't Jiu Jitsu professionals. They were just dudes that were about it. And they showed up, and they got some wins, but a lot of them got dunked on. And I just don't see many dads in this season. I don't see many, like, Andy Varela's training 5 times a day. Some of these guys last season were doing that in a month.
Let me see if I have that right. According to Skaff, get rid of family to win. I can see why you're not a coach anymore. I understand now. You'd be in there with
Yeah.
the Phil Jackson kind of like books that just say leave your family. So I feel like at the very least, but you are right. I did look down as you were mentioning this. I was like, yeah, I see a lot of single dudes in this list. I don't know that any of these dudes have a healthy relationship outside of jiu-jitsu. But we did get some notes here that I want to make sure we address. The first is adding the stalling call will account for the skill level rising more kills than last season. So that is very good. I did see Brandon Mccaghren. He had the commish. He had the little challenge flag that he throws out when there's not enough submissions at the most recent PGF qualifier. Tim, you were sitting right next to him. How much did it take for him to make that stall call?
In the beginning, he was real happy with it, and then over time, he kind of slowed down a little bit. A couple times I put my hand over his hand. I was like, not now, commish, not now. Save it. He's like, yeah, you're right. Then he did that Bill Clinton voice, he's like, you're so right.
I'm so glad that you had the steady hand of Secret Service over Joe Biden's hand, being like, no, sir. No, now is not the time. We'll do it. You know what? Play with this. This is great.
For God and country.
I want to point this out. Egghead Warrior said, yes, but a draw is a loss for both opponents in PGF rules. People will open up their games. I mean, that's the hope. And I mean, listen, the best thing we can do here is give them the rule set that works best for them. It's then on them to make that sort of thing happen. So it's really going to be in the hands of the competitors themselves. And I want to point this last one out. This is from Conscious Killing Vlogs, and it says, no way to win without taking a risk. Hands up emoji. Plus a stalling penalty, there are going to be some surprises. So I think the fan expectation is, I don't care what you got going on. We want to see some kills. And you know what? Yeah, if it means you're single and unhappy, that makes me happy. I think that's an appropriate moment to go ahead and switch. Now we basically said all of these guys have no basic love life outside of that. So we're going to move on, which by the way, terrible for TV. You usually want those subplots to tell a good story. So now we're without relationships. That brings us to our next topic. Gentlemen, I think this is one of note, but this was pitched and I liked it enough to say, let's go for it. And the question is, who is the bigger heel, AJ or Elijah? I'm going to start with you, Tim.
I really love Elijah. He has very powerful heel skills. However, AJ Agazarm is the all-time greatest jiu-jitsu heel who has ever existed or will ever exist. This is a guy who has been slapped in the face by Jake Shields, kicked off the stage by Wagner Rocha, destroyed on the mats by people who cannot stand him. And the whole time, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's working his way through it. And for as much smack as people like to talk about it, AJ Agazarm is one of the 20 in PGF Season 6. He, for sure, no question about it, is the greatest heel of all time in jiu-jitsu. There's nobody's even close. He's trolling us right now.
Okay. That was a ringing endorsement. Skaff, what say you to that? Do you feel that AJ's heelness eclipse the bad guys?
You know, AJ has a personality, and Tim did a great job of breaking down all the instances of AJ's notorious past. And he even forgot some. That's how many there is. Like, you would think being kicked off a stage and being slapped, and the times him and Gary Tonin, Gary's like broken his leg and AJ's not tapped, would be like the end of it. But he's had run-ins at Polaris with multiple opponents. I mean, the match with Raspberry Ape, old Daniel Strauss over there, he will get into it with maybe not only one competitor this season, but maybe an entire team. I wouldn't be shocked if an entire team attacked AJ after a week of being stuck with him at an event. So you can't, this is one of the ones I think I have to agree with Tim. AJ is the GOAT.
Let me put it to you guys mildly. I like where you guys are both heading here, okay? I would tell you this, AJ, definitely a great heel in 2015. It's a different time, you guys.
Oh,
Let me point it out to you, okay? The AJ Agazarm that I know has come up, shaking my head multiple times, told me I'm his favorite podcast host. Don't know if you've heard that one, Tim. Definitely has come up to me and said that. And more importantly, sent me a birthday greeting in a French hat once that confused me in such a way that I was like, I don't know if this is a death sentence or like the nicest thing he's ever done. Meanwhile, you know who's never sending me a birthday message? The bad guy. So I think we're underrating the fact that you're looking at somebody with Elijah Carlton who has embraced that role, who has said, give me your ears, you're tired, you're rich, you're poor, I'll insult them all. And I think that's why right now, if you're looking at the current game, I think Elijah might be pulling ahead.
I have to disagree with you. Listen, AJ's so good, you marked out for him. That's how good he is. He got you, man. He's the GOAT. You are in the presence of greatness there.
I'm telling you, like, all I did was tell you what the history was. At no point did I say,
and it was so nice, and it was a happy birthday.
No. Be very clear. If he's trolling, that meant that I did absolutely nothing, and he went out of his way to be like, you know what, I'm gonna come for Raf. And I was like, bro, I don't have a match for you. You spent time. I think I won that exchange if you spent the time to send me a birthday greeting.
The greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing people he didn't exist. AJ just got you to think that he's not the biggest heel when indeed he is. That's how great he is.
Think about it like this, though. That man has gone under the skin of so many people, and yet, at the same time, Elijah is somebody who has experience in this format, who probably will spend his first day. I think it's just like in prison when you got to go get the respect by shanking somebody. I think he's going to cut the first heel thing by basically being like, fuck you, dude. I want to make sure I'm the biggest heel here. So I feel like this is probably our best question we've asked, and we did get a couple notes here. And I like this from Jackson Spry, which basically says we need Elijah and AJ on the same team, ultimate bad guy team. Now, you have experience in this realm. I'm going to kick this on over to you, Skaff. What is the likelihood? Do you think that is a good idea or a bad idea or the best idea?
You know, as a manager last season, I can't imagine putting those two personalities together on the same team, because if it doesn't work, which I think there's a high probability that it doesn't, you're potentially sacrificing your team, the relationships and the camaraderie when you have two guys of that same magnitude. I mean, imagine you didn't put Dennis Rodman on the same team with, another crate. Like, Dennis Rodman joined the Bulls and they needed a Dennis Rodman personality to get over the hump. Michael Jordan had to be convinced. I can't imagine if I went, hey, PJ, I'm picking you first, and your two teammates, my next two picks are going to be Elijah Carlton and AJ Agazaram. Can't imagine that. So I think the likelihoods of them ending up on the same team and being able to coexist on the same team are very, very low. And I would say the only guy that may be willing to do something as crazy as that would be Eddie Bravo.
God bless you, Eddie Bravo. Bet you won't. Just want to point it out there. I want to goat this into, because this TV would be so. I love it so much.
I think this can happen.
It's a real possibility, though.
Yes, I'm going to tell you how. This is how. You could bid $1 for AJ and get him in the draft.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm going to bid against you. You could bid $1 and you could get him on your team, and you have the rest of your budget for the other guys. You could get them both. AJ wants to win the 20 G's as part of the team. He's not going to get all those guys. He's going to be the ultimate team player. He's going to ride it hard. I'm telling you. Someone needs to get on AJ and Elijah. That's brilliant.
I do feel this, though, Tim, which is your ability to brand T-shirts has been on fire today. We need a Dunkables T-shirt that we hand out to people that's like, sorry, bud, you're a scrub. Wear this Dunkable shirt. We also need he's willing to take one for the team for AJ. Like, I think you are just on fire here with all of these different things. We got a couple more comments. The commish is a big fan of these ideas, and he says, this is Elijah's turn to babyface. So we're talking the double turn. We're talking, hold on. Let me make sure people can see this. This right over here. We're talking the Bret Hart Stone Cold double turn here, folks. That's art. Just remember that. And I want to tell you guys this. And he says, best idea as well as Dennis Rodman and Bill Lemire is the greatest heel duo of all time in the NBA.
That's right.
Followed by the Detroit Pistons made a dynasty out of the whole team being a heel. That's a fair point. I think, Skaff, if you look at the history of basketball, you got to explore it all the way through, sir.
It's funny, when I was saying Dennis Rodman, I immediately went, oh, wait, he did play for the Pistons. We all know him for the Bulls. And I was like, wait, Bill Lambier was on that team. So, look, point to Brandon. The commish, he gets a point today. That's fine. Elijah last season surprised me. He's always been a team player. He is a softie behind the cameras.
Facts.
And you see the way AJ, though, I've never seen any aspect of that from him. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't think he was capable of sending Raf a birthday card. I didn't know that he was a fan. Like, I've never seen that side of AJ. And I'm just wondering, guys, which of these coaches, you think Hodger Gracie's going to put up with Elijah and he's going to put up with AJ on his team? You think Keegan Machado, these old school guys, are going to put up with that? I don't know. I think Eddie's the only one.
I think Keegan will do it. Keegan's used to working with celebrities. He's used to working with people that got big egos and talented, and he'll be like, come on, boys, we'll be the heels. Man, Keegan could be the ultimate heel. He can make the mean Machado face. Dude, it would be dope. Let's go.
Yeah, guys, I think we stumbled upon the real secret to the success. I can't be talked out of this now. I am 100% on board for this heel team. I had a wrestling show. We called it Heel Section. I think we should have a heel section on this broadcast here. And it says Hodger and AJ both Gracie Barra. I mean, that is true if you look at it from that side. And it's going to depend on how these drafts go. When you mentioned, you were making the point that you can bid $1 for AJ. I think that's an interesting strategy. And, as much as I want to kind of cap on it, it's a real possibility that we get the end of Dodgeball and then all of a sudden there's AJ and they're like, fuck. But I will say this, there is an added value of AJ, which is that he is very difficult to submit. And I feel like if you need someone to go out there and make sure you're kind of taking one for the team, he is definitely somebody who can make that happen. And it says a Hegan heel term would be glorious. Absolutely. It's not undifferent from like guys playing bad guys in movies. He'd be like, oh, you're the bad guy in this movie. Okay, got it. Done. We're there. So it's a real possibility here, people. I just wanted to make sure everybody is on the same page. But I think we must press on. We must. Yes, we must. So we did exclusively go down that one. That might have been the best one. Who actually came up with that?
I did.
You did. That was a monster question. You did mention earlier that Brandon Mccaghren should get some points. We do things a little bit differently here, which is we actually give out stripes. So not points, but stripes. So a couple stripes on over to Brandon Mccaghren. Keep working your way. We'll get you to that blue belt yet, sir. But the next question is this. What will the winner do with the money? Not what they should do, because jiu-jitsu people. But that's a lot of money that could potentially go into their pockets. I'm going to start on over with you, Tim Freeman. What are people going to do with the money?
First of all, I think it's great that potentially you can win $40,000 for a week of work. That's outstanding. You might just get away with 20. A lot of dudes, look, 4 guys are going to leave with 20. 4 or 5, and then another dude's going to leave with an additional 20 or 40. So that's pretty awesome. Now, what are they going to do? Elijah Carlton, number 1, he's got to quit Ubering. The last time I went to talk to him, he's driving some dude around. Like, we got to stop that. He can invest the rest in some kind of like mullet crypto coin deal or some kind of like, vanity project that he could get going on. He can open up a chicken joint in Alabama. I'm sure he could solve it. If Varela wins, for sure, Varela's taking his entire kids class. They're going to get matching tattoos and probably take a trip to Mongolia and do a wrestling tournament. I could see Varela doing that 100%. But whoever gets it, they're going to damn sure deserve it. So pretty stoked for it either way.
Let's go on over to Skaff with this.
That's so funny. With Andy, I was picturing him buying like a team van where that he could take his killers, his minions of, you see the highlights that are coming from Andy Varela's kids class. Can you imagine your son, daughter having to face one of those guys? And so, yeah, I was imagining like a team van. But what I know is the odds that the money is spent irresponsibly, whether that's on partying, vacations, illicit drugs, who knows? You know, they might go the Craig Jones route. I know that the odds of this money being invested, the odds of this money being used for good are probably pretty low. I imagine it would have to go to, you know, maybe like a David Evers, who's like an engineer, and I know he's like I kind of know David. He's a super sweet guy. Like, if he wins or one of the Canadians win, like I could see it being used for good. But most of these other guys, they're degenerates, and that money's going to be spent on like a pink car or who knows.
So hold on. I want to make sure I get this right because I realize this could bounce back in my face, but I do want to point this out. All-American Matt Skaff over here basically telling you, everybody else who's not American probably will invest it well. But us idiot Americans, yikes. Man, yeah, we're going to blow through this shit like it's a fucking $600 stimulus. I don't know what to tell you, friends. You know what? I'm going to give up my time right now because I'm going to indulge you guys in this. I'm going to give it back to both of you, and I'm just going to yell out some names, and you both tell me what you think the people will do with it. So I'm actually going to reset the clock. That's how important this is. Resetting the clock back up top right now. I'm going to yell out a name. You guys tell me what somebody's going to do with that money. I'm going to start over here. Matt Skaff. It's going to be John Combs. What's he doing stupidly with the money?
He is probably getting a Sprinter van so he can continue his travels across the United States.
Ugh, he would. Boring. And he would probably spend it on some protein and some bullshit where I'd be like, "Did you buy creatine with that? Get out of here, bro." Tim Freeman, what is PJ Barch doing with the money?
PJ Barch is going to take the money and open up a Gracie Baja franchise.
Max Hansen, in my opinion, he's going to be the only person who actually spends it responsibly and puts it into the worst stock possible. So he's going to like research what the worst stock is and be like, I don't know, man. I feel like it could work. Just let's see what it is. Let's let it ride. Let's go on over to Kevin Beering, a Skaff. What is he going to do with the money?
Oh man, Kevin Beering is young. I think he's also like in love. So he's going to do a grand gesture for his girlfriend and spend some money for a killer Valentine's Day coming up.
Don't forget the fact that dude has so many animals. The animals crashed the interview I did with him where I was like, wait, what? And he goes, do you want me to go get it? And I was like, yeah, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Give me the fucking lizard. And I thought to myself, I'm like, this dude is going to buy pet food. We've still got a minute 30 here. I'm going to go over this way. What is Hanato Canuto going to do with the money, Tim?
Oh, I had something loaded up, but Hanato's a sweetheart, and I really like that guy, so I'm not going to say what I was.
Boo! Boo! I mean, you know what? If I could take you off this goddamn stream, I would right now. Boo, man. Indeed.
Okay, listen, what any jiu-jitsu American would do. Hookers and booze, right? Let's go.
Thank you. Okay, good. Let's go on over. What is AJ Augustin going to do with the money here, Matt Skaff?
Oh my God. AJ, he's probably going to start like a pyramid scheme. He's going to start some type of shady like business, some way for him to get people to send him money. He's going to start something with the intentions of just getting money in return.
Nah, man, I'm gonna do you up one bigger on this one. I think he's gonna actually pay the Metamoris athletes just to do the final stick it to Holic and just be like, you know what? I found the real killers, Holic. Okay, I actually paid the people because when Holic was like, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna spend some time to figure out how we're gonna pay these people," I was like, I believe OJ more when he says he's gonna find the real killers, buddy. Legitimately, and yet,
real killers still out there, by the way.
Real killers 100% out there. Even with 15 seconds left to say here, I will tell you this: there is nothing weirder than when you see the Metamoris emails go out to people and go, "We still doing this? Wait, what?" There's that. All right, I think that's gonna go ahead and give us that. But I think that was a good experiment, worth the time. We've got basically one less topic here, which brings us to our last one. And I have to be honest with you guys. I run my ship a certain way, and I didn't love ending on a bad note. But then I said that's better TV. And really, what is better than better TV? That will always win. The question, the prompt here is, who will be this year's Mr. Irrelevant? So just in case you don't know what that is, you don't pay attention to real sports like football. In football, what happens is at the end of the draft, they basically have an acknowledgement for whoever is the last person picked, otherwise known as Mr. Irrelevant. Since we are having a draft, that means that somebody, like it or not, is going to be the last person picked for dodgeball. I'm going to go ahead and press this on over to you, Tim Freeman. Who is going to be this year's Mr. Irrelevant from the list of names we've seen so far?
Well, because I gave the $1 bid strategy away for AJ, I would say he's probably had a lock on being the last guy in the draft. Now, someone's going to take that idea. That's a brilliant idea. That's going to win somebody PGF season 6. You can send me a small token, $100. Okay. Just for that gift there. I think probably outside of that, it's going to be a 10th Planet guy, because chances are Hodger, Hegan, and Andre aren't going to know who all the 10th Planet guys are. And once Eddie's filled his roster up with guys, there's going to be dudes hanging around that may get picked last because the other dudes don't know who they are, just by virtue of the fact that they're 10th Planet guys. So could be that.
I want to point this out. I think the best way to actually pay tribute to you is just send you $1. I think you set yourself up for failure on that one, unfortunately. So that's really a bidding of your own doing. Skaff, what say you? Who is going to be Mr. Irrelevant this year?
I feel like it might be Kevin Buehring. Now, the reason for this is because he's still a purple belt, right? And so a lot of these guys, like you already met, like Hegan and Under Galval and Hodger, they might not know who everyone is. And so they might just kind of look at the belt ranks real quick, or they might watch 1 or 2 matches, but they'll kind of go, this guy's a purple belt. Why would I choose him when I have all these black belts and a lot of these guys have huge names? I think Kevin Buehring is going to be a steal, and I could see him being the guy. Like, there's always 1 or 2 guys that sway the season for, like last season. They're going to sway the season for the winning team. And Kevin Buehring, if he's like in the bottom couple of picks, and again, I think there's a good chance he finishes last, just because of if Eddie doesn't pick him, because Eddie's already picked 5 10th Planet guys, and then the other guys are like, he's a purple belt. He is going to have a big season. Mark my words. I'm really high on this guy. He's going to do really, really well, but he might be last.
Let me go ahead and take a moment here to let you guys know. Questions like this are very bad for people who interview people on a regular basis. So I've decided, with my remaining time, I am going to play you the video that AJ Agazarm sent me many, many years ago. So I have uploaded that here. Let's see if the sound comes through, because I think the sound is what really sells it here. Wait, hold on. It's currently not playing. I have to bring it all the way up, but give me just 1 second here. I think I can do it in the time allotted. I just want you guys to understand, this is as weird as it gets. Like, when I saw this come up one day in my feed, I just said, oh, it will get weirder, right? No, nothing gets weirder than this. So here you have AJ Agazarm in all of his glory. This is basically him wishing me a very happy birthday. And from here, I was looking at it and I couldn't make heads or tails from it.
Hello, Raf. Happy birthday. Hello, Raf. Happy birthday.
And I just thought to myself, what is that? And why is it weirder than I thought it would possibly be? Because it's one thing to send like a creepy, I think you're gonna die, like happy birthday message, but then to wear the accoutrements and do all that, is I was like, I'm very confused by this.
Yeah, that's a hard one to account for. I gotta say, it's a little bit disturbing actually seeing it. When I heard you talk about it, it was one thing, but now that I've actually seen it, I'm a little bit disturbed, to be quite honest with you.
Again, I want to go ahead.
He writes a lot of poems, so I imagine maybe that's the guy he was in that character, and he's like, you know what? I'm feeling really artsy right now. I'm gonna go ahead and send a happy birthday to Raf Esparza. He did it. Like I'm trying.
I don't know. Like part of me got a restraining order against them that day. I made sure to call my local authorities. I said if something happens to me, but this is the type of shit that people don't understand that happens when you host a show. Like this is the stuff that you go, I guess this is normal in this sport. Okay, that's not weird at all. I guess I'm just going to take it as a normal thing. So, yes, we did get a couple notes here. And just to let you guys know, we're going to take a couple questions to finish on out here. But we did make our way through the board, but not without a few extra questions. One note here was, Skaff is saying the winner is going after some Vegas hookers and blow. Wow, thinking poorly of our guys. Okay, Skaff, listen. I don't think any less of you. I think that you are saying what the people are thinking. I think that's an important thing. So, do you have any response to that, sir?
Who is the top guy in our sport right now that Gordon Ryan is sidelined? It's Craig Jones. Craig Jones is the number one dude. He's the number one personality. And I'm just thinking in Craig Jones fashion here, we're in Vegas. $40,000 is just given to one of these guys. I'm just seeing some irresponsible behavior coming from that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, got it. Still very weird.
What are we supposed to say? Like, oh, you know what? They're gonna give it all to the children's fund, and then they're gonna like buy a suit and go to church every Sunday. They're gonna stop taking steroids. It's like, get out of here, man. So, they're going straight to Tijuana. They're getting a new cycle. They're buffing up for season 7. Let's go.
I actually think there would be a part of my wife that would be a little disappointed if I didn't go to a strip club after winning that much money. She might call me up and be like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? You're in Vegas and you just won $40K. Go fucking, yeah, all right, bye." So I think she would definitely. And then the worst part is this: when you look at this money, you definitely think like, yes, it's a lot of money. It's definitely more in jiu-jitsu money, but it's also like, guys, don't blow through that. You worked very hard to get that. Everybody be smart. We're going to have a financial advisor, I think, at the end of all this. So that's what we should do. We should get a financial advisor sponsor, and then they basically get them as a client that just goes, "Hi, we're going to invest this. We're going to teach you how to spend this right."
We need these guys broke and hungry for season 7.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what's happening here, Dana White. Okay. With your TKO fucking increased value here.
We're trying to come back. All right, we're trying to eat. Let's go.
Jesus Christ. But you know what, though? If they pay me more, that's perfectly fine. I don't mind that. But you didn't say that part. You were just like, I don't know. I mean, these guys will fight for the Apex on our money. Am I right? Like, let's just keep doing it like that. I got a couple last notes here. The first is it who gets picked last or goes for the cheapest amount of money? I don't know the definition here, but I know that in the football it is who's picked last. So, Skaff, do you have any idea on what that one is?
Yeah, so with the auction that's going to be going down, and that's how so essentially each coach is going to have $2,500, I believe, and this isn't real money. This is just monopoly money to pick their athletes. And so I'm assuming the guy that goes for the cheapest, he's the least wanted. And so he is Mr. Irrelevant. So yes, Keelan, I think you're right that it is the cheapest money rather than who is actually last. It's just who are people not saving money? Who's going to go for the $1? Who's going to be the guy that all the coaches kind of, you can have him. I'm not spending any money on this dude.
I would hope Keelan would know what it is. Let's just be honest. I mean, can't be in publicity photos and not know how this goes. Jesus. So let's go to this. And it says, Mr. Irrelevant hasn't been announced yet. That is correct. And then Brandon pointed out, the weirdest part is that this video convinced Raf to be on Team AJ. No. I think you...
That's what I'm saying.
All fucking misread that. Legitimately, all of you have no discernible critical thinking skills. I went on Team Elijah as the main heel, and you guys are trying to rewrite history. All I'm saying is, yeah, he took the time to write and produce a 10-second hello, happy birthday message. But I'm telling you, Elijah is such a heel, he wouldn't even spend that time doing it because he's like, bro, if I want to troll Raf, I'll just tell him in person and I'll tell him how to submit me and I'm still going to submit him. Like, that to me is an impressive thing to do. So there's a high mark to be set here.
Yeah. It's just, you brought it up. You showed the video. It's just all strange, man.
Listen, I didn't expect anybody to have the right take of it. It's just a video that's been in my possession that I go, what the fuck is this? It is a legitimate bird dropping, like, put on your porch and going,
Wow.
here you go. And you look at it and you go, I have to clean this up now. Okay, that's cool. I did get a note here that said, PGF insiders have a traditional snake draft that sets the order for the PGF auction draft.
What is a snake draft?
Snake draft is where it basically goes 1 to 10 and then 10 to 1.
Oh, gotcha.
So it just goes brump, 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 brump. Brandon Mccaghren just put this out here and said mark, and I want to point this out. Brandon, as somebody who barely watches pro wrestling, I don't think you have the vocabulary or the know-how on how the actual word mark works. The fact that you're marking out for AJ and trying to force justify this probably makes you more of a mark that you're falling for it. So just so you are aware of the terminology, you might actually be getting into jabroni status, but I believe that term is used. By the way, shit, you know what? I think I was joking with somebody, and it might have been Elijah, where I said, hey, The Rock might have ownership of that. Somebody came back at me and they're like, yo, I think the Sheik has that. No, The Rock has jabroni. He just got that with his latest deal with the WWE. He got all those monikers. So I think we might have to be very careful. And if we are saying the jabroni grappler, we better fucking mushmouth that as much as possible because you don't want The Rock's lawyers on you.
Get him into PGF season 7.
Yes, we can afford The Rock in the season. It says these three personalities together is going to be great. I agree. Pumped for season 6. And it says history has already been rewritten already. And Brandon Mccaghren is coming out saying, I know enough to know you're a mark. Legitimately, Brandon, I will stop this stream right now. Like, I will pull this car over. And I have no problems doing that. So instead of going off, I guess what I'm going to say here is this. Do we have any closing remarks? I'm going to give you guys each 1 minute on the clock to go ahead and tell us your wildest predictions for this year's PGF. And I'm actually going to start on over with you, Matt Skaff.
I think this season we are going to see a fist fight. Too much money's on the line. We're bringing a lot of guys with big personalities, some of the top guys. I see that there's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be some animosity between some of the guys. We've seen it in past season where tempers rise, and I think this season we're going to get something crazy to happen. So I think that's one. And two, I think one team, I don't know which coach it's going to be, is going to pick absolutely terribly, and they are going to get absolutely demolished. They are going to be significantly behind the leaders, and at some point, a couple of those guys are going to be on the verge of committing mutiny, and I'm interested to see how the PGF, it breaks people. Every season, guys drop out, and I'm interested to see who this season doesn't have the heart to stay in the full week.
Okay, Skaff, I can't make you say who the mutiny or like which team coach would have that happen to them and that sort of bad stuff. But I can ask, odds on favorite, who are the two people who get into a fist fight?
I don't think it is AJ or Elijah at all.
Okay.
I think it'll be somebody, guys that have really high paces. I could see it being, like Kamoy last season, Kamoy and the Minnesota Maniac, Nick Creighton. They were close, and those are just two guys you wouldn't have predicted. So I have no clue. I just don't think – I think the easy answer is AJ, but I think it's going to be two unsuspecting guys. Who knows? It could be two 10th Planet guys. I don't know.
You think it's going to be – I hear what you're saying. You think it's probably going to be like Max Hansen.
What I'm saying is if there were odds, right, like if you just had the odds, the favorites would be Elijah and AJ. I'm taking the field.
Okay, Jesus Christ. You know what? One thing I'm very much looking forward to, I know that people are saying some nice things about us, and I appreciate that. Thank you guys, by the way. But there's one thing I'm very excited about, which is the amount of betting that is going to go on the sides. Because
yes,
I am indulged by all of this, so I'm very excited to see everybody here do that. But I do want to point this out. I'm going to bring this back on over to you, Tim. Give us your wildest predictions, sir.
Wildest predictions. I think Skaff is on to something. I think we'll see a skirmish, but it may not be between two athletes. It might be between a coach and an athlete. Especially when there's money on the line, and especially when guys come from a different philosophy. People are wound tight. Maybe you got picked by a guy and you know you were the lowest bid and you're feeling a little salty and he's giving you advice and you don't really want to take it because he doesn't know your game. And now it's day 3 and tempers are flaring. So I think that's a big possibility. The other surprise, I would say, is we could see a blockbuster replacement. We could see someone drop out and a big name step in, especially the closer we get to the date, the more publicity this gets, the more information that gets out, the bigger the names are going to be that want to get involved. So definitely there's potential for something to happen. I don't know exactly if it's going to be one of those things, but I do think that something big is going to happen this season.
You had such a good idea that was only a half thought. I'm going to take the rest of it, which is this. I think at some point when you start putting in the money and that into the equation, you're going to see somebody like Hodger go, you know what? Like Thanos, I'm going to do it myself. Bam. Come in here. They're going to be like, but you're not 175. He's going to be like, are you going to tell me no? You don't want to see Hodger Gracie grapple? And you're going to be like, I'm sorry, guys. You're all losing money. I'm so sorry. He's going to take it right now. I'd like to think this. I know we're talking about a few things in terms of the boldest predictions, the wildest predictions. I'm going to go ahead and say, tired and true, we're going to see a new emerged individual in jiu-jitsu get that glow, get that soul glow, get that like moment where they're going to shine. And to me, I don't think it's who we expect. I actually think the best thing to find about season 6 is going to be finding the people who you know will perform well, but then the point structures allow it so that there can be a major surprise. And one of my favorite things about covering EBI was, sure, you might know that somebody is going to win, like a Gordon or a Gary, but the best part is the people who surprise you. And those are the people who are always surprised when I went to go over to them and interview them because they're like, I didn't win. And I was like, maybe not, but you really showed out tonight and you made a career. And as we've seen for somebody like Craig Jones, that could be a real thing. But it did say this. It did say from Brandon Mccaghren, odds on Keanu Reeves or Chuck Norris showing up.
I'm going Keanu. Chuck is getting up there in age. He may not want to make the trip.
Yeah, I don't think Chuck is super healthy. I think he's healthy enough to do one of these every once in a while, but I don't know about that. And Keanu is a jiu-jitsu enthusiast, so that would be cool. He's like, you know, we could trick him in there and just be like, whoa, I know kung fu, but also not jiu-jitsu. Whoa.
Maybe he's setting him up for the big replacement.
Keanu comes in, yeah. 100% Keanu goes like all the way to the finals. That would be dope. And it says, note here from Egged Warrior, Kevin Beering will shine. So I like that. And it does also say that season 6 documentary is going to be amazing. And somehow Skaff screwed this up. We were about to make it all the way home. And we have him lost here. So in case you guys can't see this, you just see an empty thing. Okay, good. On mine, it says a little something different. But it's a little, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to switch this back to this version. So that way you see the darkness that is Skaff not being there and oh, nope, he's calling back in. I hope this puts him back on. And bam, he is returned back to normal.
Hey.
Gents, what I would like to do, I'm going to put the camera back on you one last time. And I would like for you guys to tell us where people can see you, plug your shit, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and start on over. Skaff, since you ran away, I'm going to put you on blast first.
Really simple. Ooh, I'm way out of screen now. Anyways, really simple, guys. Grappling Discourse is my podcast. If you guys are ever interested in like seminars or reaching out to me, I love helping people out in the community, whether it's just technical questions or just chatting up about an upcoming event. You also will be seeing me doing this show, PGF, but Grappling Discourse is the podcast. I've got over 400 episodes. It's basically turned into a solo show. So if you enjoy listening to my thoughts or enjoyed today listening to me speak, check that out. You will not be disappointed.
guess too hard to book. Totally get it. Would not do it myself again. Here.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and go on over to Tim. Tim Freeman, what do you have to say, sir?
Hey, you could check out the podcast that we've been doing for a long time, Inside BJJ. It's the same handle on all the social medias, Instagram and all that. I got a couple schools. I got a 10th Planet out here in Nashville. So for sure, if you're out in Nashville, please come through, hit me up. And if you're in the 209 Stockton, woo woo, make sure you go to 10th Planet Stockton. Check our team out there. Yeah. And just real quick, Raf, I just want to say thanks for having us on, man. It's pretty cool to be able to do this with you and Skaff as well. But especially Raf, we've known each other for a long time, man. Our goes way, way, way back. So it's kind of cool to still be out here doing this like 10 years later, 12 years later. So it's pretty rad.
It is also wild to be kind of at the forefront of the next iteration of what this is supposed to be. People may not know this, but Tim and I would run into each other at EBIs in years past. And we got excited because that was one of the few times we got to run into each other. So it was always fun to be covering it. And now to be a part of it, it is something unique and special. So we definitely feel a great sense of pride and happiness to be able to bring it forward to seeing the type of jiu-jitsu and the programming that we have always wanted. So I'm glad that you guys are going to be right by my side on this. And I can tell you this right now. We're still working out the kinks on what the actual show will look and feel like, but we wanted to give you an idea of what a presentation could look like in the near future for how we approach the talking of sports, the cable side of it, and the presentation. And we are only a small part of what is going to happen in the near future. So you can't go wrong with these two gentlemen. I think you're going to find that we're going to have some of the more interesting commentary that we can have for that week. But I am looking forward to having you both on and helping out to preview the stuff. So my thanks to you, Matt. My thanks to you, Tim. I'm going to say bye to you guys off air in just a second, but I'm going to go and close this bitch up. But I appreciate you both. All right, let's go ahead and bring this thing to a close. Oh, look, that comment's still there. What is that still doing there? I was just letting you guys know I'm the most handsome Raf in grappling. That's really sweet. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, we here at the Grappling Hour have comments, jokes, analysis every single day. We have new episodes going up. We mentioned earlier our latest episode with Gary Tonin just went up today, and we've got more coming. So every year, we do about 52 interviews. So that's just on the low side. Just to let you know, we do fight commentary, etc., fight companions. We do it all. So I very much appreciate you guys who join us and do us a solid. Go on over to patreon.com/grappling hour. Support our show. $5 a month. You can see my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you can see tape studies, extra bonus content not available anywhere else, and a comment section that we like to call Roast Raf, where people, guests, roast my competition footage. It's become one of our signature segments, and I think a lot of people really enjoy that. And if you want to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, that really does help us here on the page. And what else do we got for you guys? Oh, buy the merch. Look at this. Bam. Grappling Hour. Grappling Hour shirts and hoodies are available at rafesparza.com/merch. Go ahead and buy a t-shirt for $25. Hoodies are $45, and the combination of them together is $60 savings. So if you guys want to support us, we appreciate you. And last couple things, join our Discord at Grappling Hour. And I think the last one is really just to say thank you guys. It has been a pleasure chatting with you guys here today. We look forward to seeing you back. And again, the new season happens on April 21st. It's going to be a week-long experience that culminates on the 26th. It is going to be a fun time. We are getting people here who are saying some very nice things as we are signing off. But I do want to tell you guys this. If you think you know what's going to happen on April 21st, you don't even know. And how do I know that? Because I don't fucking know. So I'm stoked for it. I can't wait to see you guys. We will see you back in Vegas with two of my good friends, Matt and Tim. But it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.